Right, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 22.
Correct.
Of Bragging Rights. As always, we are sponsored by Comscaf and we are here at Tribal, the home of the pod. However you consume our media, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hype. And before I ask you how you're doing, because I've got the pleasure of opening, I'll start on, I went to pot without me last week, gentlemen.
I won't go that far.
Well, let's have it right. First of all, apparently Josh said you can't hype on this, you can't do that. What I said is, you can only hype on the mobile app.
That's what I said.
I don't know if you can do it on the TV or not. Don't put words in my mouth. Fair slide. And then, the big one, at the end, I very plainly sent all my predictions over. I was very clear who I was backing. And then young Craig just decides to say on the podcast, yeah, it's Wire for me and Josh. It wasn't Wire for us though, was it, pal? It was Leeds we backed.
It was. And we actually got it right.
So you leave.
Not the winning margin.
And honestly, I mean, I'm away again for a couple of weeks shortly, and I'm just dreading what's going to happen because I'm going to send in Rovers versus Huddersfield. I'm like, Rovers by 40. I'm like, ooh, Josh has gone for Giants. Giants and George. Rovers to win, but George Flanagan to catch the golden snitch. And I'm like, no, that isn't what I said, Craig. But I do jest. It's good to be back. I'll go around the room. We'll start over this side. How are you, James?
Tired, but alive.
Functioning.
Yeah, just about.
That's just adulthood, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
James, number 2, how are you?
Sound
as a pound?
Man of many words as always.
Yeah, no, I had a few people on Friday night, Craven Park, saying, you guy didn't stop, does he? I was like, oh, I've got to rein him in.
efficiency. All about efficiency.
Gregor, how are you, my mate?
Yeah, not bad. Tired. Last night at work tonight, so happy about that.
Oh, it's nice the last one comes round.
Not back till Sunday. It's beautiful. Hot weather's coming in as well, and means I can spend it in my living room in front of the fan, because I'm a heat phobe.
I didn't realise your partner liked you that much to call her a fan.
No, she doesn't. She'll be in bed because she's also on nights. So.
To be fair, you are coming off at the right time because it'll be very hard to sleep in the coming days. It's going to get very hot.
Who looks after the kids if you're both on nights?
Leah usually.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
After sort of 6 weeks, they're quite self-sufficient.
Yeah. Just get up, get dressed.
Sorry,
I
was thinking of kittens and puppies. Sorry, I get confused.
And then if Leah can't do it, we have Laura's family who chip in.
That's nice, isn't it?
It's very nice.
Do you not pay them?
Grandkids in it, so do you need to? They should do it out of love and adoration for the grandkids. So.
Well, they do, and then what you often find is that they're nicer to the grandkids than they ever was to you when.
Oh yeah,
you was
absolutely,
a kid.
yeah.
I've noticed that quite a bit since since Dean had kids.
Yeah, my mum never liked me anyway, so.
My mum loved me. My dad's feelings were questionable, I think.
Then that generation won it.
Yeah. Come on then, let's start talking about rugby.
Yeah, I'm fine as well. Cheers, gents. Let's move on.
We always forget to ask the opener.
No, I was gonna, and then I thought, well, he didn't turn up, so.
He didn't have a full intro to say how he was, and he said nothing. So.
Hi,
Are you all right?
Hi, welcome to Bragging Rights. I'm fine. Let's talk about Rovers at home to the Leeds Centurions. Just because I've said this before. I don't mind the rebrand. I don't mind what Derek Beaumont's done in that terms. I think for how much of I call him out all the time, he has done a lot of good stuff in terms of growing the sport in that area. You know, for a small bus stop in Wigan, he's not doing bad. But I did prefer the Centurion title. I understand why they rebranded, but I preferred it to Leopards.
Well, it's only like us, isn't it? We rebranded in a way. We went from being like Hull KR to basically being known as the Robins on like media and stuff, new badge and this, that, and the other. So. I didn't like the badge at first, but it did grow on me.
Well, you've said before about, you wouldn't be against going back to the Sharks for you boys. A bit of an identity and a...
Yeah, I wouldn't. I genuinely, I know it wasn't a great time for us or anything like that, but I couldn't give a toss.
Just because it
was a bad time in the past doesn't mean it's going to be a bad time in the future, you know what I mean? But I spoke in private the other day to someone and I said to them, whether it's, change the name again or whatever, or just keep the LFC and get a new badge. We need a rebrand. It needs refreshing. It looks old, stale. It's not very modern.
So. Yeah, look at a lot of clubs have all done it, haven't they? Like Brisbane, Brisbane have updated theirs. Obviously Rovers, Leigh. A lot of teams are doing this sort of rebranding to sort of reach out to more global markets, if you will, because it's more... Obviously, the shield and the crowns to us guys are, we wear them on our chest. it's us, but to other people, it's like, well, that's boring, isn't it?
You even hear it on Sky though. That, they'll try and use them, and they'll be like, and we've now got Derby Day, one of the most anticipated games of the year. We're here, and we've got the Robins versus FC, and we don't even say the early bed. So look, it's just one of them things. But for me, a little bit off topic, but yeah, I preferred him as Centurions. But we did play Leigh on Friday night in very hot, muggy, windy conditions at Craven Park.
It's always windy. It could be the height of summer. It's always windy.
There's always that wind off the dock. I love to talk about the wind off the dock. But yeah, it was. To start off, before we jump in, I'll just say I was disappointed at the travelling Leigh fans. I was disappointed at the numbers. A team, that's getting the chance to go to Vegas and so on, forgetting all the rubbish about how far it is. It was a Friday night. Leigh, I know there was missing 2 good players in Charnley and Lamb. Lamb probably more significant, I would say, being a half-back. But they did shout, they did cheer, they did sing, but I didn't think they brought good enough numbers, really, from what I've seen in the past. And it was my real first observation of the night.
Well, I suppose it's one of the first ones that you see, because even before the players come up for the warm-up, you can see the away fans in their stand. So it is one of the first things that you see, obviously, depending where you go. If you go straight into the stand, if you go into Craven Street, probably not. But it is one of those initial observations, and you're like, oh, well, they haven't brought many. That's disappointing. Oh, that's a good following. But
I think it's part and parcel of like being a supporter of like anyone other than FC and Rovers, especially when it comes to travelling to FC and Rovers, because we accept and acknowledge that we've got that extra stretch on the M62 that we have to cover to go anywhere. Whereas for them, it's like, well, they play Wigan, they play Saints, they play Wyre, Salford, all kind of, obviously not Salford at the minute, but all kind of within a similar-ish kind of distance. And then when it comes to coming to one of the old games, especially on a Friday night, it's like, do I want that extra hour? Probably not. So, whereas we have to accept it, they don't.
I guess, but
I still think they should.
Yeah, absolutely, because we've always been in that mindset of you follow your club and you go, and if you can go, you do. Don't get me wrong, there's probably some genuine Leigh fans who probably couldn't make it, work commitments, childcare commitments, whatever. But it was down on what you would probably expect for a Friday night from a team.
We'll talk about the game obviously now, but I just thought it was worth mentioning because I did notice it straight off the bat, and I did think that's unusual because I actually always considered them quite decent travellers. So
yeah, considering they don't get like a genuinely massive home crowd, like they do tend to travel quite well in terms of percentages of away fans to home fans. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing to see, but I'm sure there's reasons and caveats to it, as you like to say. But we'll have a quick chat on the game then. I thought we started really well and kind of looked in that first sort of 10-15 minutes like the Rovers of old was back. We was dominant, we was attacking really well, we was playing the game to the way we like to play it. And then it just seemed to slide off a little bit as Leigh grew into the game. And I'm not saying we were bad by all accounts, but it was just a bit disappointing to see that start for the first 15 minutes, because if we'd have carried on playing like that, then it could have been a massacre and it could have been a statement win.
It really could, and I think we're at the point where Rovers are, and we'll talk about the Leeds preview in a bit, they're probably looking for a statement win to say we are at the top and we're going to be challenging, because right now a lot of the conversations around Wigan in great form, Leeds obviously in good form, and them two are the two for the grand final. But I wouldn't say so yet, but that is quite a heavy conversation that's going on. And we, as you say, we sort of started out to sort of maybe put a statement one out there. And then, they got back into it. We were quite error-strewn, I felt. It was a really scrappy game in the end. I was still pleased, particularly pleased with our defence overall. It was a good effort, but it wasn't our best by any stretch. And they were missing Lamb. My biggest criticism of Gareth O'Brien throughout his entire career is that he plays really well when someone else is dominating. He loves to play behind a superstar. And then that doesn't make him a bad rugby league player.
Makes him a smart rugby
It makes him a very clever rugby league player. And he looked a bit lost for me on Friday night. And I think that helped us massively, because there was lacking a bit of creativity. And, our defence really stood up tall. So, especially when you add into the mix that Tyrone May just rubs himself in butter before he goes out to play games nowadays. The guy's in the form of his life. He's probably playing the best rugby he's ever played for Rovers right now for me.
Yeah, he's been really impressive. And, as Rovers fans, we like to say, he plays in a dinner suit or tuxedo or whatever, but he genuinely does. I think I counted and he got tackled 3 times before, even I won't count a tackle as if he was like held in a tackle but managed to get an offload out, because he did do a couple of offloads as well. So I'm actually counting tackles where he's gone to ground. I think I counted 3. I might have missed, but it's something I've been keeping a closer eye on, especially after our discussion last year before, Jimmy, where we said about him maybe not being the man to take Rovers to a trophy.
Yeah, it was. I think it was
about 18 months ago, was it, thereabouts?
Before, it was leading into last season, or
after the grand
end
final
of the
against
season
Leigh,
before, yeah.
Wigan, sorry. So I've been keeping a bit of a closer eye on it since then, and he just seems unplayable at the minute. Nobody seems to get anywhere near him.
And look, that's the thing for me, is he has been really, really good, particularly the last 4 or 5 weeks, and he was man of the match for Sky. He wasn't in the ground. For me, he was man of the match. He was unplayable for large portions of the game, and he's doing something that's really tough to do, which he's actually taking a bit of attention away from Mikey Lewis. Now, Mikey always finds a way to bring the attention back on himself, so he's his own worst enemy in that. But the tale of the night for me is Mikey gets that negative attention, so people will rightly focus on two drop balls from kicks. Now, one of them, he wasn't to blame for me. One of them was, we was playing a centre at winger and then a second row at centre, and for me, Reece Martin didn't come in to claim the short kick. Mikey had to come from a long way back. Whatever the communication happened, didn't happen. It was probably never Mikey's ball. And then he got some fingertips on it and obviously knocked on. The second one that he knocked on was definitely his fault. We can't argue with that. But what that takes away from is, Mikey had a phenomenal night defensively, you know. He had that Sard, that left-hand edge of theirs, son up. He had Hanley in his back pocket defensively. And that's a very good player, someone that people are talking about for England squad at the end of the year for the World Cup. Mikey put a good kick in for the Hickle try, which was some great eyes at rugby, and he had a fantastic game. But part of that comes off the back that there's so much attention on me that you almost can forget about Mikey as much as you can, because it's Mikey Lewis. And so I actually thought both half-backs had a phenomenal night, and we'll go back to sort of a point we always come back to now. And it came off the back of the fact that our forwards dominated their forwards. We always talk about building a platform for your half-backs to play behind, and they did that. And there was no wonder off the back of that we had good chances, we had tries. Yes, we made a lot of errors. Yes, they bombed a couple of close try attempts, but really, I couldn't ask for more for about 55, 60 minutes of that game. There's just the 20 minutes where we had a lot of errors and we made some daft mistakes.
Yeah, it seems to be creeping into our game a little bit, where we're not sort of being, I said it in the group on Friday night, we're not being disciplined off the ball, with the ball. You know, we're not respecting the ball. We're thinking that we can throw it around, or we can try and do off-the-cuff stuff we don't usually do, or things like that. And it's a bit frustrating to see, but you can also understand on the flip side of that what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. So,
is that possibly something that you've lost, having lost 2, big sort of leaders in your squad at the end of last season, in like JWH and Mickey Mack?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Something that the rest of the players might have let creep in, that they might have
snuffed
curbed.
out. Yeah, definitely. Like we spoke about it on the terraces and stuff, about how we miss how they managed to control games. Like that game on Friday night had been perfect for them too, because when Leigh start getting on top, you send them 2 out, and they just kill any hope that they have. So yeah, possibly, but then we need to adapt and overcome that. To obviously, players come and go, as we know as sports fans, but yeah, somebody needs to step up and sort of take that mantle of, obviously I know it comes with years of experience, they've been around the world and back again, the pair of them, so that comes with that experience. But for me, we need somebody to sort of, maybe not to the level that they did it, but somebody to step up and maybe take that mantle.
I think it was Tyrone May's trying to do a little bit right now. He even spoke about it in his post-match interview when he was talking about everything he's learned from playing with players like Sam Tompkins at Catalan, playing with Mitchell Pearce, people like that have been great half-backs or ball players. And he is leading the team, but it can't just come from one man. And also for me, May's a bit of an aloof player. We always joke about, the end when all the players run through to finish off the warm-up pre-game, he's the one that jogs at the back. And, he just seems like a bit lousy. I always joke.
Reminds me of Calvin, does his own thing in the warm-up.
Tyrone May, I always just sort of picture stood against a street lamp smoking. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like, yeah, I'll come when I want. Like, so we'll get that. I think what I would say about Rovers right now, and I think Friday night was a great example. I think we are firmly in that mix of one of the better teams in the league. Not always, but we're showing that, and we're showing a little bit of longevity in that we managed to win enough games. I love our league position right now. What are we worth?
Third.
We've got a game in hand, 2 points behind the second place team in Wire, who we've got the game against for the game in hand. Our points difference is the second best in the league. It's massively over a lot of teams near us. It's something like 150 points greater than Wigan's. All these things that might come into play later in the year. So I like our position. I just feel as though right now we are a dead set to beat probably 10 teams in the league, 8 to 10 teams. But there's 3, 4, 5 teams that I think on their day give us a good game. You know, and they are your Wigans, definitely your Leeds, definitely Wakey after what's happened recently. I would have thought Leigh would have been one of them up until now. I think Wire maybe with players back in could be one. I don't think they are right now with the injuries they've got. And really, we probably would have expected that hopefully we would be more like the top 1, 2 or 3. And actually, in my opinion, I think that we're just putting ourselves in a position where we need to do a bit more so that they're definitely top 4 to actually they're top 1 or 2. Maybe that's been a bit picky, expecting a bit more than I should, but that's how I see us.
Yeah, it feels like it's sort of a steady in the ship sort of period at the moment for us. Obviously, excuse me again, where we had Vegas, we had the World Cup Challenge, we had the 2 France games, and then we came home for free and we sort of settled again. Then we've had the game against Wigan, then we had the Challenge Cup final, which was obviously massively disappointing for us, and then the Wakefield game, and then we've just seemed to maybe be entering that steady the ship period again, where, you know, if we come out of this season with anything, it's got, for me, I'm not just saying it because I'm a Rovers fan, but it's got to go up there as one of the most top efforts in terms of a Super League side, and in terms of what we've done and what we've managed to see this season. Yeah, I agree.
And look, talking about steadying the ship, I think there's a lot of players could maybe spoke about for good performances. I've mentioned Maine Lewis. 2 I wanted to particularly pick out. 1 for his great performance, particularly after he got dropped last week, but was Jai Whitbread. You know, Peters has spoke about this. His response to being dropped against York after a couple of poor performances was phenomenal. Not just because he scored that try, you know, that Mikey put the great kick taker in that he threw back inside.
Abel would have scored that try.
It was just a great effort from a forward. He had the hard yards, he had the big tackles, he had the tough carries, and he led through the middle and helped the other forwards as well. And I think he was right to get some praise. But also one who, bit of a head scratcher for a lot of people, why he doesn't get more minutes, why he doesn't always get into our 17. But you've got to talk about Billy Leyland. The guy just keeps taking his chances when he gets the opportunity to play Super League level rugby. And, he had no right to score that try.
No, not at all.
The guy he's got, I mean, he would be more of a bit muscle, but I'd be shocked if he's a 12 stone wet through. He looks like he weighs about 9 stone. He's a young lad, you know, he's a quick little whippet, you know, and he's powering over through 3 Leigh defenders.
Big Leigh defenders
a
as
centre,
well.
a second row, and the loose man. And somehow they've got him held up. And he's like, no, you're not stopping me. Now, as a Leigh fan or as a Leigh coach, Adrian Lamb, that would probably be the most disappointing part of the night for me. To let a little hook, you can accept a little hooker sometimes nipping through and catching you off guard, but you can't let him make contact with 3 of your players and then him almost carry the 3 players over the line to get the ball down. Do you know what I mean? The guy's built like a child.
I said quite a bit last season. I was surprised at how little game time he got, how little opportunity he got, especially when you were missing McLaurin through injury, you know, here and there. I was quite surprised he didn't get the opportunity, and I think this season when he has been given the opportunity, whether it's been for yourselves or whether it's been at St Helens, it's kind of proven the point of maybe it's kind of proven my point of he should have been given more opportunity last year, but then maybe it's proven Peter's point of he just needed a little bit more time. And
I know when he's ready.
But either way, he's a player I won't mind having in black and white.
Look, if Carl Lawton does go home, which right now he's settled by all accounts, but if he does leave at maybe the end of the year, then Leyland's there. If Jez Litton leaves, you know, I think there's a lot of consensus around the league that if there's any players that could maybe have a crack at the NRL, he's one of them. And if there's any player that maybe Willie Peters wants to poach to take with him when he goes, it might be him. Now, can't go far wrong with the way Leyland's been led into this team now, so I just thought it was worth shouting out his performance. Sorry, mate.
But no, go on, you're right.
The only thing I want to mention, because I think people might get mad if we don't mention it, Craig, but I did find it to be one of the poorer refereeing performances that I've seen of late. I've watched it back. I don't think he was entirely wrong in a chunk of the decisions that he made. I do think that he made a lot of poor decisions that perhaps were 50-50 calls that didn't seem to go our way, which always aggrieves you as the fan of that team. But I felt as though them same decisions didn't come our way. So I felt as though, particularly a lot of forward passes that, looking back, right, we threw some forward passes, we got caught for it. But then you see 4 on the other team that don't get pulled up. And then you see penalties, 6 against that you don't get, but they do get. And you start to think, I understand why people get frustrated here and start saying, there's 2 teams, referee.
You've been speaking to Susan? Because she loves a good moan about a ref, doesn't she? So
it was just a general consensus in the stands at half-time. And a lot of people were talking, speaking out and saying, like, and it wasn't just the normal, I'm full of beer and this is ridiculous and the ref's out to get us and the All Out Rovers. It was just generally like, he's had a poor game, hasn't he? I was like, the first half particularly, he did. And even in the second half, he made some right decisions, but I felt as though he made some wrong ones as well.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, I commented and said, I don't think he's had an overall bad game. It's just a few things that he's missing, forward passes, and like you said, Josh, giving one decision one way but not the other. So I don't think he was overly bad, and that's tough for me to say about Kendall because I don't like him. But I was speaking with Lauren, and she said it's like you can see why he doesn't get any of the big games anymore. It's like he's talking himself out of being put into these bigger games. So.
You say that about a lot of referees, to be fair.
Well, you can do, but Kendall used to be the top dog, didn't he? So he used to get all the gigs and whatnot. So
it's hard. Whenever you win a game, it's hard to complain. But I feel like we've been quite straight down the line on this podcast about. Obviously, we're always a little bit taken over by our own opinions for our own clubs. But we have always turned around and said we're going to call it as we see it. And I thought it was a poor refereeing performance overall. And I feel like that's that's one of the ones they should be looking at Monday morning, or this morning as it were, in the referee reviews to say, come on, let's smarten this up.
Yeah, it was a very odd game. I feel like it was like how would I describe it? Like Leigh weren't very good basically, and we did what we had to do.
Yeah,
like Leigh looked to be malfunctioning. I thought like. Obviously, without Lamb, it's going to be the case, like, because he's there generally stays around the field. But yeah, they should have just turned themselves off and back on again. I'd say, like, maybe try to reset because it was everything that was trying was just going wrong. So
we, because we're producerless tonight, I'm trying to keep an eye on the time.
I know, yeah.
So, so for everyone listening or watching, it's probably going to be a bit more obvious rather than we get time checks. But I'm just going to have to call them. Like, I think we should move on to you wrapping up in the next bit.
That was literally my last point that I had. Perfect. Anyway. So, quick roundup then of the Rovers' results from the week prior. Start off on a bit of a negative. In the Shield quarter-final, I believe it was, the women's lost 4 points to 56 against Manchester Swinton Lionesses, who walloped us the other week as well, about 2 weeks ago in the league. So,
heavily, a lot of injuries in that squad for us, isn't there, I believe?
There is at the moment, yeah.
Doing it tough for the women there.
Obviously, Manchester Swinton were just too good for us on the day, but to turn it around the PDRL, they beat Bradford Bulls 24-16. The Academy won 40 points to 10 against Wakefield, and the Scholars beat Cast Tigers 34-16. So 4 out of 5 for the Robins Club this week.
Yeah, not bad.
Bragging Rights is proudly sponsored by Comscaf. Hull's own Comscaf have been keeping things safe and steady for over 30 years, providing professional scaffolding services nationwide. If you need a team you can trust for your next project, big or small, head to comscaf.co.uk or give them a call on 01482 782 181.
So, that was us. Shall we talk about FC and Wakefield?
No.
In a word.
Just no.
I'm actually not as downcast, to be honest, after the second half performance at the very least.
That's because you're a Wakey fan.
Neutral fan.
Neutral. Yeah.
Nah, there was a definite upturn in the second half, but still, just. We said it last week. Like, we were so on point and like operating as a cohesive unit against Huddersfield. Yeah, fair enough against the poor Huddersfield team, but still, everyone was pulling in the same direction. And then to see that just knocked right back into what we used to watching the week after. It wasn't even like we were just a little bit, worse. It was night and day, and I think that's for me just what has become so frustrating about FC. Not the poor performance. It's the vast difference between what we can do and then what we end up doing a week later. And it's...
I understand the frustration there, because like that first half performance, don't get me wrong, Wakey were pretty good, but we helped them no end by knocking the ball on, giving away soft penalties for, I think I counted 2 fifth tackle resets, which you're just asking for it, you're just making yourself do more defence. And like I say, Wakey were good, but we absolutely helped them out in that, particularly in that first half.
We just reek of a club that's got so much shit going on behind the scenes.
And the game also reeked of a well-planned Wakey assault in the first half, where they knew where to target and did it well, particularly targeting Barron with Johnston.
Yeah, but we're not going to give them any credit. We're just going to focus on what we did.
But like the thing is,
not Rovers fans, you can't give other teams credit.
When we talk about, you said in the past about like potential future England internationals at your club, and you talk about your Martins and your Barons and that, and we've never turned around to that's not true. The only thing I've ever said is they've got a lot to learn and they've got to prove it, and they're going to need some help to get there. What I saw, was let's turn Barron around a few times, let's catch him out, and he did. And like, look, it's not against him. The guy's still a good player. But Tom Johnston showed why he's the name that's going to be going in for an England shirt right now, and why Barron's still 2 to 3, 4 years of development off, perhaps looking at being in an England shirt.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think any of us have said... Well, I mean, there might be fans out there that have said it, but I don't think anyone on here has ever said it, that we think Barron's right there, right now.
Nah, Dean did.
Did he?
He's not here, he can't defend himself.
Oh, fair. But no, I think anyone that understands rugby league can see that he's definitely got the potential to pull on an international shirt, but he's still quite raw. And when you're coming up against someone like Johnston, it's their first try where he just dinks it over the top, and Johnston's like the best in the league at that.
A lot of people have scored that try, and a lot of people would have. A better way of putting it, a lot of people would have conceded that try, not just Barron, because Johnston's very good at that, and the kick was perfect. So it's not slagging Barron off, but they'd done the homework to know that that was a good thing to do.
See, I thought both their first 2 tries, I don't think there's a whole lot you can blame on FC. The kick's basically perfect, and obviously we all know the attacking winger's got the advantage going up for that ball, running at full pelt, whereas Barron's stationary. As Josh just said, there's going to be plenty of wingers who'd score that try, not just Johnston, but obviously Johnston is good in the air as well. And then the second try is a great over-the-top cut-out ball where all the defenders have jammed in like defences tend to do these days. And that ball, if the winger stays out, which they don't always do, obviously jamming in, the winger can intercept that ball. It's a great spot from Truman to notice that Barron's jammed in, as everyone else on that side has done, floats the ball over the top, Johnston goes in for another try, and both are just realistically, just good skill from the Wakey team.
And they come on a young guy, I'm saying he'll learn from them. But ultimately for me, that's Wakey doing the homework properly and seeing them and being ready for him. So I think my biggest amusement for you guys, because I have to get my digging, don't I? But
again,
I mean, you don't have to.
I have to, because everyone, when I see people at Craven Park, there was like, where was you last week? You dig it. I need you to get your digging.
Colin and Mike, they're always like that.
I've spoke at length in the past about, I feel that sometimes your club shoots itself in the foot. And we've gone back and forth about, well, pre-season they have to try and sell tickets and they have to try and promise this and say we're doing better and so on. Why is Andy Last telling the Rugby League world last week that you've got the best goal line defence in the league before you play Huddersfield? You're just setting yourself up for a failure to ship 30 points at you against another club and a lot of weak defence on your own trial line the following week, which is exactly what happened on Friday night. Just keep your mouth shut. Just say, we're trying really hard. I feel like we've got real good goal line defence and that's really kept us in games, but with the injuries and blah, blah. But you don't say, I think we've got the best goal line defence in the league, because it was always going to come back to bite you in the arse, wasn't it?
But the thing, factually, we have.
No, you don't.
We do.
They do.
We actually do.
In terms of percentages.
In terms of...
After this week. That's what I'm asking.
The entire season.
But now we've got this week in.
Well, I don't know. It's one game out of 14, isn't it? I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to the season so far stat.
We ship our points 20 yards and out, Josh. That's where the teams have all their success with great.
Just kicks over Baron's head. Yeah, you did say.
It's true though. Like when you see teams score against us, it's not after a play of the ball in our 10. It's after a play of the ball 30 metres out.
In their 10.
Yeah, I'm that, yeah.
No, because it's more because the stats don't just work on where they're from. It's because you concede so many 6-agains and invite so much pressure on your line that you defend extra tackles. So your set of data is much bigger to go against. You still concede tries from inside 10 metres, like in Friday night.
We don't.
It's what happens is you end up having to defend 18, 24 tackles, and then you concede. That's why your stats are so good on it.
What he's worked it out based on is how many tries conceded versus how many play the balls in our 10. So if you look how many tries you've conceded from a play the ball in your 10 versus how many play the balls you've had in your 10, our defence in that scenario is better than yours and anyone else in the league. That's all he's saying. But I get your point.
It's ridiculous.
Don't bring it up. Also, in the lead up to the game, he was talking about how we'd had a great week training and we're really well set, blah blah blah. And then you look at some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and I think you're talking out your ass.
It doesn't matter, does it? Because he's going to get him out to dry. Just like they've started to clean out your back room, he's probably going to be next, and they're now looking at starting to clean out the players, which he should be doing. But
and Andy Last will be here next season. That's the only thing I can say with infinite certainty.
I don't think he's liked by the players at the moment because of his coaching style. That seems to come across because he's a bit authoritarian.
All I'm going to say is you're wrong.
Okay.
But I can't say anything more.
Okay.
So
we know why.
That's because that's turned on.
Yeah, we know.
So I can't say any more than that.
No.
But it's.
Go back to your game. I'm sorry, boys. I dragged you away from
No, I like not talking about the game.
I know you do.
That was us after Wembley.
No, I mean the thing I wasn't so downcast about based on the sort of semi comeback in the second half was the fact that we had 2 stupid sin bins, which is always going to cost you in any game. So you're 20 minutes in the game down to 12 men, and we conceded 3 tries in those. So I assume it happens. You can't take it out. If you take it out, that's 18-10.
A lot of the points. Yeah, sorry, no, go on.
That's 18-10 against a team that's arguably in the best 4 teams in the league. That's not a slouch performance, especially based on how bad the first half was.
The other side to that is as well that I think their first tries came whilst we were in that sort of tumultuous period of having 3 players going off with injuries in the first 10 minutes or whatever it was, 10-15 minutes.
2 HIAs and Kirby doing his knee.
Yeah, and then you had their 2 tries, and then we held them out, and then SASA decided to clock someone. And
let's talk about that, specifically you, James Abel. Right? SASA takes a swipe at someone twice, catches him on the head, deliberate high contact, gets a yellow card.
Yeah.
Do you think yellow card's fair?
I didn't make enough contact for a yellow.
Okay, it's just that in our group chat that you're now a member of, the Wakefield and Rovers game, all direct head contact should be dealt with severely, and you would like to see long bans and stamp out of the game, and to not. I was going to bring this up last week, so I didn't bother to turn up. I wanted Barron to get done last week. Do you know why? Because he scored a try last week, and then he went and rubbed someone on the head, and I thought, James won't like that direct head contact.
Their player didn't like that either.
But all of a sudden, when it's big SASA, it's fine, is it?
It's not fine. It's still a penalty, but I personally don't like how head highs are officiated. Doesn't change what the rules are, and the rules still have to be enforced as they are. But I don't like that. I don't like how the rules are worded at the minute, which basically means any head-high contact is an immediate yellow. Because I think that I'm not saying SAS's is a particularly great one to be planting my flag on here, but
I was going to say, just be careful here.
For example, like I pulled the one Staunton against you, wasn't it? Where there was 3 people going into a tackle. The Rovers man gets hit by the first 2, and then Staunton's going in for the same tackle and catches the guy in the head. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously he still hit him in the head, but there's no intent there. There's no shoulder charge, there's no intent to go high there, and he still gets a yellow card for it, and that just feels unjust at times.
So SASA then, yellow card justified, should have been a red. I mean, he's got no points from it. It's the red card has come off as sufficient in the review today.
Yellow.
You think yellow's fine?
No, it was yellow.
I mean, yellow. You said the red.
Sorry,
card.
yellow card.
I think yellow's enough there.
I thought it was warranted. I was probably the only person sat in the entire stadium that didn't get up and kick off after I saw him pull out the yellow card, because I was like, well, he's made contact with the head first time, which you could argue is accidental or incidental, but then the fact that he swung in a second time, like, I still haven't seen a replay of it, but at the time I saw enough of a intention to swing in the direction of the head to say even the slightest bit of contact, I'd bloody yellow card you, because it's the intent.
Has maybe history sort of followed him a little bit, because obviously he did it in the derby where he made that great contact and then absolute mind fart, just swung an axe.
No, that was Franklin Pele.
Oh, was that Pele? Edit that bit out.
I actually thought you was setting up for a joke about Pele then.
No.
Big, unfit, useless in the middle.
Are you on about the one on Minchella?
Is that who it was?
First game of the season.
Obviously, I can't remember now.
That was Pele. That's all right, mate. We'll leave it in.
He didn't make any contact. That was fine.
There was nothing wrong with that.
The Franklin Pele one is the start of last season, if that's what you're referring to. It was the very first game.
Puts a great shot on Minchella and then just swings the arm under.
Yeah, it might be.
And then refuses eye contact with the referee.
And then leaves, spits his dummy out, goes play somewhere else. Then spits his dummy out there, goes plays French Union, spits his dummy out there.
As we always on a digression, on that point, no, I think it very much summed up your team and what's going on there. That guy was so frustrated, and in that particular moment, his frustrations just came out in the wrong way. They not only end up costing him 10 minutes on the sideline, which that guy needs match minutes to get match fitness back. Yeah. He really does, right? Because he's not showing that form he had previous, because he needs to get match fitness, right? We know he's fit physically, but he needs match fitness. Not only costing 10 minutes on cost you a player down, as you say, they got points in, but it also was born from nothing. 3 men are trying to take him down, rightly so. He's a big bloke, he's hard to get down, and he offloads the ball well and often. Someone's got hold of his share, right? That happens, it's rugby league. In my opinion, he's trying to do the old bash on the arm and get rid of him. But then to throw that arm that wild, that big, it could have easily been a red card and could have put him in a lot more
if
trouble.
If he'd caught him clean, if his hand was closed.
And it's for me, it's his frustrations at the way the team were performing, the way things are going. And that's why there's a lot of a season left for your players to be feeling that way right now. It's not on.
Yeah, we are literally just past the halfway point, aren't we?
Yes.
So there's a lot to get sorted.
Well, not if you go in the playoffs and have a run on that.
I hate you.
That's usually me who says it to, so it's quite refreshing.
I don't need to say it to you anymore.
It's because when I see people at Rovers and they're like, oh, I like it when you stick it to them, and then I get carried away and too big for my boots.
Not like Josh to play to a crowd, eh? No, so I mean, obviously we've sort of laboured on the first half performance. I did take a quick picture of the stats from the first half. Obviously 24-0 down, never great. 43% possession for FC, only 14 sets and 480 metres. Comparatively, Wakey had 57% possession, had 23 sets, so they got almost 50% on top of what we had in terms of sets, and they made 877 metres up for our 480 in that first half. It was, like I say, they were good. We really didn't help ourselves at all in that first half.
Yeah.
So
I think I said that about 13 minutes ago.
It's kind of a carbon copy
when I tried
of
to
our
avoid having the entire section.
Yeah, it's like a carbon copy of our game where the opposition were brilliant and the other team did what they had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fair play to Wakefield, because, you know, especially when we was, you know, down to 12, they took advantage. You know, and yeah, we did kick on a little bit in the second half. We settled, but they did a professional job, and yeah, they truly did take advantage, especially at the point Matautia got his yellow card, because we'd started to claw back in. And I'm not saying we were going to turn it around. I never at any point thought we were going to have a comeback, but if Matautia didn't get that yellow and we would have carried on that momentum, I could have seen us maybe getting another try, holding them out. And
well, for that first 15 minutes of that second half, the knock-ons the silly knock-ons disappeared, the soft penalties disappeared, and all of a sudden they weren't rolling us and doing 80 metres in a set.
We just sharpened up at half time.
Yeah.
Everything was just that. I'm not saying it was crisp, but everything was that little bit neater in the second half.
Speed as well. All of a sudden, we were stopping them just like rolling over the top of us. Well, too little, too late.
Indeed. So anyway, well, I ain't got any more to say. So
Just the other results beyond the FC Wakey match. So the academy played Bradford at Bradford and won out convincingly 52-12 against Bradford. And the wheelchair team also played Bradford and won out convincingly 68 points to 30 at Bradford.
not bad all round.
Okay, let's have some. We always joke about how this is like unprofessional and chaotic, but with the way we've set up today.
But we are though. We're not professional.
No, we're not.
We're
But
doing it for fun.
I just think today there'll be so many random cuts and edits to this episode, and they'll just be like me going, "You happy to do that?" And you'll go, "Yeah, you go." And I'm like,
Go!
let's have some news from around the rugby league world.
News from around the world.
There's been a bit going on this past week, but not loads and loads. But we'll start with some extension news. I just think these two particular signings or extensions are of note. Harry Smith for your extension at Wigan. Quite an interesting one for me. I think it's a bit of a. I wouldn't say it's a risk given some of his recent performances. He has been at his best, but he's not at the right side of his rugby playing career for age-wise, is he? And I think there's definitely some intention there to do what Wigan do best, which is mentoring and helping bring through the young lads they've got coming into that half-back position.
Seems like a long contract given how well Faramon's playing. Because you think Smith would be the one to make way for Faramond, assuming that he gets a starting share of a French.
Well, what I've heard here is that, not Dunways, but the French situation is that might not be carrying on,
Right, okay.
and Faramond will be getting a look at the full-back shirt. But don't quote me on that because...
Fullback shirt. So is Field going somewhere as well, man?
So they're going to... The Field's the one that's going to go, and Faramond's going to get the full-back shirt. French will remain.
Right,
Sorry, I said that wrong way around. But I haven't had a beer with Pete for a while, so I'll have to ask Mike next time I see him.
I'd have put French at fullback.
Yeah, I might have butchered that completely. I remember reading
That's
it the
all
other
right,
day.
we can cut it.
No, I don't.
No, I'm not.
I think it's, if I remember correctly, I think it's SAS.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was Franklin Bella. Apologies for that, by the way. That was
The other big extension news, and over at St Helens now, off the back of Carl Felt leaving with immediate effect this week, is that they've extended Tristan Saylor for a 3-year extension deal at Saints, which I also think is quite significant because I feel like that's a guy who has definitely shown some ability and definitely shown some flashes of brilliance. But Saints are just a bit of a turmoil team right now, aren't they? You never really know what you're going to get, and I don't think anybody really expects them to be challenging at the end of the year, but they expect them to be there or thereabouts.
I look at Saints' team and I just kind of think, when everyone's fit, who goes where? And they've got some good players in there, available to play in the spine with the likes of Wellesby and Saylor, Lomax, Hastings, and I'm like, what is their best? Sort of 1, 6, 7, and probably 9 as well. Like, where's it?
And I know I was watching Saints the other night, and they had my cousin last year who let him go to Cast, Ben Davies, and he's obviously been playing at Cast now and getting more game time. They're playing his brother Jake now, and he's getting like big minutes for Saints, and like he's playing more. And I'm like, where did you come from? And why are you getting like a starting spot in the Saints line? Because I'm not saying he isn't good enough, but does everyone really know who you are and what's going on? And there's just that, it's a sort of, I think it's representative of the sort of mishmash nature of how I see Saints, which is what you're saying right now. I don't really know who's right for what position. I don't really know what they're doing.
All I know is that Walmsley's going to play prop. That's it. That's the only thing I understand about
Saints.
Saints.
He's going to give you one knock on a game.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And he'll
Anyway,
keep playing until he's 45.
but we'll wait and see, that there could be two great extensions that bring some more trophies for Wigan and get Saints back on the winning ways. We'll find out in years to come.
Hopefully not.
Let's talk about Hull FC's ex-coaches. Let's talk about Lee Radford, shall we?
Oh, go on then.
So big congratulations to Radders. His job as the defence coach of the Northampton Saints in the Rugby Union ends this weekend as he goes on to take his full-time job with the Scotland Rugby Union team ahead of the Four Nations Championship and then ultimately their World Cup as well. Long known this was going to happen, but Radders has been very, very widely praised for his role as the defence coach for Northampton Saints, and there's a reason he was poached by the Scotland team at the end of the day, because of how good he's been. But Northampton Saints actually went on to win their second Prem Rugby final in 3 years at the weekend, with a very dominant display. And in the post-match interviews from the Northampton media squad and the head coach, it was heavily focused on Radford's effort and what he's brought to the club and the change he's made in that club defensively. And I just think it's definitely worth a shout out. We had a long conversation with Paul Cook a while back about the lack of jobs in Super League and Rugby League for coaches, and just how many jobs there are in Rugby Union. Radford has done that. He's won 2 Challenge Cups back to back for you guys, not found himself working out at Cass and other places, and he's gone to Rugby Union and got a job as a defence coach, and it's worked out beautifully for him. So yes, we don't want these coaches going to Rugby Union, but we'll always celebrate, especially with our own from Hull. As much as it pains me what he did for you guys and you winning them cups, he's a great guy every time I've met him, and well done to him.
Yeah, fair play. I genuinely feel bad because I didn't know about that. But then again, I don't follow the union side of things. Yeah, it's not worth my time.
People that play it are all a bit odd, aren't they?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Let's have some good news to finish the news this week, though, then, which is that Super League topped 1 million fans in attendance within 100 games this weekend. So as we rounded off round 14, round 14, the
15.
final people, 15, the final people through the doors for the 100th game or whatever, meant that we've had over 1 million people attend games in person this year across all the clubs, and that is a new record for the Super League era.
That's decent. Do you know what I like about this as well? So they announced it on the Tannoy FC.
So it is 14 rounds, sorry, it's 14, not 15. So
that's this week's into account.
Yeah,
that's last
so it
week's
happened
data.
coming in, so it's through
That's
14
last week's
rounds.
data.
Oh,
This
right.
week's.
But so at our game, they announced it like, your attendance here tonight has meant that we've gone for 1 million. And I'm like, do you reckon they said the same thing at Rovers, considering the game was at the same time?
I saw FC put the post on as well, like on the social media.
Did our game maybe kick off like a minute late?
No, I was genuinely just like, I'm happy for you to try and claim any little win you can. Because there was someone making a point before, not to jump back, man, it was on about poor attendance at the Challenge Cup final this year. Something that we never touched upon about that was the fact that they moved the 1895 Cup away from there, which can roughly be responsible for, there was estimating 5,000 to 7,000 fans, and it's just like these changes across this year, are they for the better or not? Whatever they've done this year to get bums on seats, boots on the ground in stadiums has worked, because 1 million fans in 100 games as of round 14, as the stats say, is very impressive. And off the back of this, what other great stats that they've decided to share, the Super League social media clubs, they've had 106,000 new followers across all social media platforms. That's 100,000 people getting to see highlights, getting to see young players, seeing what goes on in this sport. Good, social media is the way forward in this country. We're in the world. They've had 5.5 million engagements, which is like likes and things like that, and shares, which is up 17% on last year. 201 million video views, which is up 63% from last year.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it?
That's impressive.
6.5 million YouTube views, which is up 80% on last year. I praised the YouTube account earlier this year because I genuinely think the highlights have got so much better. Just because they've extended the videos, they show a bit more of how the game's flowing, they show a bit more of what's happened rather than try no conversion. So you do get a 15-minute video now instead of a 6-minute video, but you get a bit more of a feel for it. Yeah. So I think that's definitely working. And also, our league sessions, they've had 1.4 million, so up 14%. So just really good news, We're talking about this. We're going to get some comments on Rugby League in the future on question time this week, I believe.
Question time, yeah.
But that is very good, and I think that's a good way to finish the news this week, because I think it's positive news. So, yeah, good work.
All positive this week.
No, it's not positive. Harry Smith signing for Wigan. Yeah.
Well, it is for him.
Yeah. I'm for Wigan, probably.
And for Wigan fans, yeah.
So that was news from around the world.
Or just Super League today. And
Bradford.
Edit that bit out.
No.
Just want to say thanks as always to Tribal for hosting, watering, sometimes feeding, not this week. Same as last week, all World Cup games are on this week, I believe, apart from tonight because it's closed. Is open for the England game, no matter what time the kickoff is. I had confirmation Obviously, over the weekend, you've got the next round of Super League fixtures, round 16. So if you're at a loose end, come down, spend a bit of time here. Great company, great buzz, great atmosphere. We all love it here. And obviously, don't forget to bring your season pass if you order food and drink if you're a Rovers or a FC fan, and you'll get 15% off a bill containing both. And they also sell this delightful tipple.
It is good, isn't it?
Which one is this one? Oh, it's the top. Why is it there when I'm going to work and I can't have any?
I think we did that on purpose.
Yeah, you probably did. But you've got a little bit of a story regarding the vodka, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried it before. Obviously, whenever we've spoken to him and said it's nice, we wasn't lying. We'd had a go and we genuinely enjoyed it. But I had like my first proper session with it on Saturday night, you know, with some friends. We were having a few drinks, playing some cards, a few shots, and I'd explained to them, you're going to enjoy this. And there was some doubters in the room, and yet everyone left being like, actually, Josh was right, which I love, you know. Nice tipple, really enjoyable, goes down really smooth, and was excited for the next time we meet up so we can try the other flavours as well. So I've now had that true first-hand experience of like, let's get the shots out, or, and we're talking about what could you mix it with and how nice might it be to have it over some ice, even neat, or what would you mix it with lemonade or Coke. So yeah, I can say first-hand that now I've had more than one shot here to try it, can really rate it and recommend it.
I think lemonade would go really well. I'm not quite sure on the Coke. I'd have to give it a try. But sorry to drop you in it there as well, by the way. You didn't know that was coming. But,
no, I didn't.
You got an habit.
I've got an habit of doing that. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as Meatloaf said.
Pele, I said that.
Pele. Franklin Essen.
Right, moving on to comments then. 2 this week. So we mentioned it last week. Like, this is like one of the things that we really enjoy doing. Is having to have that direct contact with the viewers, listeners. So I'll just go straight into it. The first one is more of a serious one from Steve. Everything's gone a bit quiet on the possible deal with the NRL. Do you think it will still happen?
The thing is, if they're in that contract tweaking talk phase where they're just ironing out all the finer details, there's not a lot to report that we don't know already. I'm not saying that is the case, I'm just saying if that's where they're at, then we're not going to be privy to that information until it's ready to be released. So you generally find that you get a bit of a lull in information before an announcement is made. So for me, maybe just reading into it a bit too much, might be not, but I see it as a positive that it's gone quiet in sort of a roundabout way. So that's my take on that.
I think what Craig said is spot on. It generally does happen.
First time for everything.
I'm glad I'm sat down.
Not just in the rugby league world, but talking about business in general. These things do tend to have a small quiet off period while things are firmed up and sorted out, and I think that's very fair. And what he said probably echoes my own feelings. The second point is that I did call this out in the news a few weeks back. Abdo is leaving to pick up his role with the tennis commission in Australia. That was always going to have an effect. We said that we would like to see that potentially he's a professional who's going to carry it on. It's the real world. He's got another big job to go on for. He might be getting knuckled down, getting in, just get this finished, so you won't hear from him. But to answer the question, thing is, we don't know. My gut tells me that we will still find something, but it might not be till later on in the year. But I think it going quiet shouldn't be taken in a negative way, but it maybe should just be taken with a bit like the Rovers' new coach. Let's just wait and see.
A lot of parties, a lot of moving parts. It's going to take a bit of time, basically.
I thought I was just talking about your social life.
Well, we didn't get invited to yours on Saturday, did we? Or did you go?
No.
Oh, good. I'd have felt real bad if you went and had it.
Oh, what, like the other week when you two went to pub quiz?
Actually.
At Watered Arms.
Actually, all 3 of us went to pub quiz.
Right, that's it, I'm going.
I think
Sorry, when we won the pub quiz.
Oh, yeah, we won the pub quiz. The other thing I think to add to this is it was always going to get quieter when you consider how loud it got in and around that sort of Vegas timeline. It was getting spoken about all the time. You had Abdo flew across to the UK. You had Rovers and Leeds playing in Vegas, so Abdo was there, and what's his face as well that runs the NRL side of things, not the Vlandis.
Yeah,
He was
Vlandis.
talking about it quite a lot. So when you've got that much sort of focus on it, for it then to go quiet, I think that's exaggerating how, you know, the fact that it's gone quiet just feels more exaggerated because of how loud it was 2-3 months ago. So, but yeah, same as what you guys have said. I'm not concerned. I think it's in a place where it needs to be, and I'm pretty sure there has recently been British people that have gone down under to do some chatting as well.
Yeah, there's loads of people on holiday, mate.
No. Next question.
Bonday's great this time of year.
Next and last question. These are the questions
I thought there was 3 questions.
Two of them are linked into one, similar to
No,
like.
well, there is. All right, we can do the third one, but we tried doing the third one last week, and it all got a bit out of hand, and it took
Really?
forever.
Oh,
So,
okay, sorry.
And because they're both food related, and one of them seems a bit easier to do,
You should have just said no, there's 2. Shut up, Josh.
I'll cut it out. Yeah, there's 2. So this one's from massive friend of the pod, Gary. I love this question. What would your last meal be if you knew the world was going to end tomorrow? I love the fact we get food questions as well, because talking about rugby for an hour and a half sometimes.
As good as it is, it's just nice to.
Yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a. Let's
That's what-
stop being serious.
It's what I always say, innit? Just send your questions in, even if they're not rugby related.
Yeah.
Could be anything. It
Not
doesn't
rugby
necessarily-
union. Don't send them questions in. We will ignore them.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be food. It can be anything, just not rugby related. Films, video games, any as such. I'm just throwing a few categories out there. Trying
Are
to,
you pre-ordering GTA 6?
No.
Are we answering the question?
Yeah. Go on then, Craig.
I like-
What's your last meal going to be?
Right. So we're going starters, main, dessert,
I
drink.
don't bloody know, mate.
Right, well,
Like,
I'm doing
do you-
starters because I want fried halloumi with sweet chili jam.
You're such a basic white
I am.
bitch, aren't you? Like,
If I'm on death row, I'm having something I enjoy.
you're not on death row. The world's ending. You're not in
Same
prison.
thing. You're still going to die, aren't you?
All right, fair enough. Go on, you might be a cockroach. I don't know.
Maybe. Big hole less.
Go on then, halloumi starter.
Yeah, let me start. Then I'm going to be even more basic. One that's chicken
Really?
with chips. Yeah, and pudding, chocolate fudge cake, and cream. Because I'm not an animal and I don't have ice cream with hot stuff. That's just weird. And then my drink would be a drink. Don't really have a go-to drink. Probably a lemon Fanta. Yeah, I said that last week though.
Yeah, but we cut it out.
Oh yeah. Oh, 7 Gold vodka then. Yeah.
I like the way I said, let's skip the third one because it's a long-winded question, and you've effectively just answered the long-winded question.
Yeah. Well.
Josh.
We would go for carpaccio for starters.
Right. I'm a basic bitch. What's that?
So it's basically really, really thinly sliced, like beef mince, right? And when you get it, it's like cooked, like it's not even cooked, like it looks raw, so it looks pink, but it's incredible. It comes like a bed of rocket and stuff like that because it's really, really nice. Usually has like a scattering of cheese across it. It's an Italian one. I really like it. You can get it in a few places here around Hull, but I like carpaccio anyways.
Santis and places like that, probably.
Like Aldi.
You used to be able to get it at what's near here, next to Next. Gino's what that's called, but
Oh,
I don't think they do it anymore since they rebranded again. So that'd be my starter because that's one of my favourites. For a main, I don't think you can beat just like a nice fillet steak, done medium rare, with some home cooked chicks on the side, probably a peppercorn sauce, something like that. I'd wash that down with a nice glass of red, probably a bottle of red if the world was ending. I would probably go for maybe a nice Malbec. Yeah, probably a nice Malbec. And then for dessert, if I could bother to have something afterwards, I'm not always a big dessert guy, I'm more of a starters guy, I would probably end up just seeing maybe just like a nice cheesecake and maybe a couple of grapes on the side as well. And then
Oh, you're a well-travelled man.
yeah, and then I think I'd just probably finish that off and then put it to one side. Then I'd probably just have my favourite cocktail, so just have an old fashioned, and I'd just have a nice old fashioned to sit and just watch the world burn around me. Is that not what you wanted?
Yeah. That was,
I like the fact that you've got a drink ready for watching the world burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have my lemon Fanta then. My 7 Gold to watch the world end. Yeah.
Josh has stole my thunder. I'm not really a starters guy, so good steak, ribeye for me, medium rare. I'd have a pint and a whiskey, single malt.
A pint of whiskey?
Yes.
Pint and
pint.
whiskey.
Well
whiskey.
done, didn't he? What a hangover, it's fun.
And then some classic pudding, like either sticky toffee pudding or apple crumble.
Yeah, but you'd have ice cream with it, wouldn't you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, ice cream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no, grow up. How old are you?
Ice cream with both.
Oh, no, custard.
What, ice cream with a steak?
Yeah.
Ice cream sauce.
So I am a starters kind of guy, and I would start with some oysters. I absolutely love oysters. So I'd start with, I don't know, maybe 5 of them. And then I'd carry on the trend with a steak. I'd try and specify for a nice sort of A-grade cut of fillet, Wagyu, and I'd have that rare. Maybe a bit of peppercorn sauce to go with it, with some dauphinoise potatoes and some asparagus, and pudding. I don't know, I do like the idea of a cheesecake. To
Bowl
be
of dry
fair.
Wheatos, probably.
What?
Bowl of dry Wheatos.
No. Yeah, probably a bit of fudge cake or a bit of cheesecake. And then I'd wash that down with some spiced rum, some old J spiced rum. A bottle of, because the world will be burning, so why not?
Yeah.
Right, so just a quick reminder of our monthly cause for the month. This month we're supporting Otto, young lad who's unfortunately been diagnosed with crab disease, which is a rare and devastating condition affecting around 1 in every 100,000 children. Otto's family are facing incredibly difficult journey, and any support, whether that's a donation or just simply sharing the story, can make a real difference. You'll find the link in the episode description, and if you're watching on screen now on YouTube, you'll see that it's just appeared at the bottom of the screen, so you can scan that QR code and that'll take you directly to the Just Giving page. So if you can spare any sort of donation towards that financially, that'd be fantastic. That'll go towards them helping to create memories. But if not, if you can just share that page on socials and such, then that'll obviously help put it in front of people that might either want to share it themselves or want to make a donation. So yeah, that'd be appreciated by us, and obviously for Otto and his family.
Rovers Leeds, Friday. You stole my thunder a little bit earlier, where I've got down here a bit of a question. It says, are we quietly building, or do we need a statement win? Which would be this Friday against Leeds.
Yeah,
Given how well they're going.
Yeah, I don't think there is a bigger statement opportunity than beating Leeds at the minute. Obviously, we missed our chance to beat Wigan, Challenge Cup final, when all that went. That would have been a bit of a statement. Now, the next team up that's in that upper echelon is Wigan. Is Leeds, sorry, other than Wigan. And I genuinely think it'll be a really good test of where we're at. I actually don't fancy us for Friday night. I think I'll be going Leeds' way. I think it'll be a close, tight game. If there's anything I can say on for the Rovers players, though, we always say about Peters, we trust and all that, but I've said this before, I'll say it again. The team that have played Leeds this year, not that I've watched every game that Leeds have played, but the team that shut them down the best was Hull. Hull's game plan worked them better than most of the teams have, hence why Hull got the win against them. They repeatedly put the ball into Sevo's hands coming out of his own backfield, which is one of his weaker traits of a player. He will score from 10, 15 out, he will overpower you, he's a good winger. He's fantastic at what he does. But he's not great at carrying the ball out, it tires him out and it takes the power away from him. It then puts the pressure on other players to help get out that back corner. Hull also did particularly well at getting into Jake Connor. Not so much winding him up, which I'm sure will be a big game plan of Mikey's and maybe Minnie and other people, but they actually shut him down and gave him no space to play in. On that, Croft, sorry, not Connor that day, and give him no space to play in. We'll need to do that to Connor and Croft this week. And I think that's all we can do. And if we do that, I do give us a chance. But ultimately, I would have to say, there's a reason Leeds are at top of the league. And I do think that their form is continuing really well. And I'm not sure we're matching it right now. So for me, that's the game plan. Go after it. Execute. We won't beat them if we make the same errors and mistakes that we made on Friday night against Leeds. If we don't make them, I consider it to be a really tight, close game. And I still probably just give Leeds the edge because they are at home.
Yeah, it's always a tough place to go to, Headingley, especially now with that new stand behind the sticks as well. Just gives it a bit more of an enclosed feeling. They're very close. It's a bit like Craven Park in terms of how close you are to the pitch when you're in one of the home stands. Obviously, the away stand is a little bit different. It's open-ended, but it's always been, no matter where Leeds are in their sort of lifespan, whether they're at the top with the Sinfields, the Boroughs, or whether they're in that transition phase, what they went through a couple of years ago, where they were featuring in the middle eights and finishing towards the bottom of Super League, or to where they are now, which is obviously back up there. It's always a difficult place to go. So I'm probably going to edge towards Leeds, just in terms of the form and the fact that it is at their place. But if we are going to make that statement, what better time and place to do it than this week for me? So hopefully we'll get off the bus, we'll be, fired up, ready to go, and we'll see a very, very good game between two very good sides at the moment. So bit of injury news. Gildart obviously missed last week. HIA is back. Litton's not looking brilliant. Ligament injury in his ankle by all counts. It wasn't his knee, which was heavily strapped as we spoke about. But reading what Peters has said, basically with Litton, once a swelling goes down, it's an injury that heals rather quickly. So hopefully he may be back. Budgie doesn't look brilliant, but Peters again sort of played it down a little bit and said that the physios haven't said anything. This was obviously a day or two ago. They hadn't given an update, but it's not as bad as first feared. But whether he might need to sit a week or two out, we'll see. But we've obviously got a backup ready-made in Booth.
Yep.
Which I've no doubts that he will just slot straight in. So I'm hoping for a really entertaining game. May the best team win.
Yeah, me too. I think, look, Lee's second try on Friday night came purely because we'd had to shuffle around after the injury. We had Hicko at wing and we had Martin at centre, and they just wasn't in the right position, got sucked in too easily, and it was quite forgivable against a very quick outside back that has got a real good striker at it, who got in the corner. I'm not mad about it. You can't always, concede 0 tries or 0 points. And I'm not saying Budgie would have made that tackle. I'm not saying that was right. But when I've got a second row playing centre and a centre's had to move to wing in game, and it's happened and they've only let one in, I kind of let it go. I feel like this week, because we'll know what's happening, we can prepare for it. I think we'll be in a better position. And like I say, I expect a good game as well. Yeah.
On to us then. It looks miserable just reading that. Home to Wigan. The
thing is that
we're going to get beat.
No matter how bad you've been, you've always seemed to have something against Wigan. Or not always, but a few times.
Yeah, we do. Every now and again we tend to just step up really unexpectedly, and it'll be against Wigan. It'd be fair to maybe think that could happen with a full strength team, but not with a team that's in a bit of disarray off the field, behind the scenes, and potentially having picked up a few more injuries after playing Wakefield and getting our asses handed to us.
Both HIAs were passed though, weren't they? I believe.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
but so Kirby left the game with a brace, but it was precautionary, and we've not had an update on that as far as I'm aware. Cartwright left the game. It was said that he just felt a bit of tightness in his hamstring. He didn't pull up or anything like that.
He just didn't come back out for the second half. Basically.
Yeah, so there's maybe a bit of fingers crossed there, but it is Cartwright, so he's probably done for the year. And someone else.
Borough.
Oh, Borough, yeah. I don't even know what happened to Borough.
He was the other one with the HIA, and then he had a finger in the eye or something, so I think he had bad vision or something, so didn't come back on for the second half.
That's something you could reasonably
The
expect.
jokes write themselves about having bad vision, don't they, with the way, anyways.
And ironically, Hull got better in that second half when he didn't come back out, so...
Do you know what? I didn't mention it in our review, but I know I've mentioned it a few times before. I just really like the look of Hutchinson. I think, you know, he's very raw, he's very young, he's got a lot to learn still, but he reminds me of when we first started blooding Lytton. The way that he just comes on, don't matter how big or little he is, how much experience he's got at this level or not, he comes out, he gives it his all, he does his minutes, he goes off, he'll come back on again, he'll give it his all, and he'll go off. And it's not like he's just coming on in the same sense that, like, you know, you get your other halfbacks that might come on here or there, or your other hookers that might come on here or there, and kind of play a little bit of a reserved game because you're young and you're inexperienced and you've got other players around you that, you know, might or might not know more or know better. He comes on, and when you look at him, you think mentally, you can tell he don't give a toss who's in front of him. He don't give a toss at what level he's playing at. He's gonna go out there and he's going to do everything he can to own that game, regardless of whether he's, you know, got the experience or not. And he is genuinely reminding me of when we first started putting Jez Lytton in the squad. And I hope we don't make the same mistake twice, because I can see him becoming a very, very good Nan. Not saying he's going to go on and, you know, get to play for England like Jez has or anything like that, but I do genuinely think that I can, in my head, at this point, reasonably see him 2 or 3 years down the line with a number 9 on his back. Not just playing hooker, but being the starting hooker for Hull FC. So I think that's one thing that's really been a benefit of this season, and I hope, regardless of whether Burrow plays or not, I hope he does get some more game time this week, because even against the Wigan team,
it's good that you're getting these positives and picking the players out, but I feel like I've said this a few weeks back, but I'll say it again now. There's a marked difference this year for the Hull FC team and the results, where last year and the year before, there would be times where you felt there was a lack of effort, but then there were times when you did, and then the players would rise through like injury and through adversity and win some games, and, you know, beat Wigan in the Challenge Cup or beat Wigan at home. And I said before, I'll say it again, these aren't happening this year. You know, last year, this Wakefield game you've just gone through, you would have come back and won that in the second half. But you wouldn't have had the first half, which would have had such a lack of effort. It would have been a poor first half, but they wouldn't have gone in 24-0 up. They'd have gone in 16. And you would have found a way to win that game 18-16. This year, that just haven't quite landed for you. In the same way that Rovers, we won quite a few close games last year by 2-4 points at times. And this year, they haven't fallen for us like the Wakey game a fortnight ago. So I think it's really good that you can take them positives, because unfortunately, next week or this coming week, it just doesn't feel like a game where anything other than a big Wigan score can happen. And, you know, I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but I think that's 99.9% of people's understanding at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, in addition to those injuries, Warrington have recalled Max Wood, who's actually looked relatively solid the last couple of weeks. There are a few people coming back. I think Hardaker's supposed to be in his last round of HIA fitness.
yeah, I'd expect to see that.
And I think Martin is also in line to return, I believe.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know if is that 100%. Even if it is, it's not match fit, is it? Because he hasn't been playing for a month, so.
No, and we had the conversation earlier today where it was, well, if them two are back, who goes where? Does Martin go straight back on the wing? Does Hardaker go back into centre, or do you put Briscoe in at centre, and do we have to use Hardaker, or even you said maybe Briscoe, somewhere else to cover the fact that if Cartwright is injured again, we're going to have to put O'Neill back in at second. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of, I think them comebacks don't actually.
Not when all the problems seem to have come in the forwards. So obviously Kirby's most likely, well, he won't be playing, will he, after the knee injury? I don't think we've got anything confirmed as far as how bad it is yet, but it didn't look great on telly. So.
No, it didn't look nice at all.
So you've obviously got three second rowers or 3 back rows or middles or whatever the hell you want to call them that all have some reason why they're not playing for FC that were last week.
Yep.
No. Just yep.
Do you know what though? If and I know I can't.
It's not like Wigan have got good second rows or anything, is it?
No. I can't see anything other than a very big Wigan win, and it might be good to welcome, you know, players like Martin back into the team, and it might do us good to have someone like Hardaker in the team who can try and settle us down in tough moments. But still, I don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever.
The other thing as well is we don't know the Wigan team yet, and I'm not saying they're going to be disrespectful by putting a few youngsters in or making some changes of their own, but Wigan, my Pete, will also have one eye on where his players need rest, and there's always that benefit of when some youth comes in, a bit of an experience, it comes with a bit of rash decision making, a few errors, and it's not always as bad as you seem. You know, it reads like it might be a massive massacre, but actually if they come in and they make 5 or 6 changes, give some of those young lads that played against us the other week against you, and actually you've got a chance to get a few points against a bit of a weak defence, or they might have a couple of knock-ons and things like that. So we don't know. It's just that if it was both starting teams as they are now, injuries included, yes, Wigan by a big score.
False positive, we're consistent inconsistent, so we lost last week, so we're due a win.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting till Andy Lask can tell me after next week where you rank in the best goal line defence.
It's not going to be as high as it used to be.
Yeah, true.
No, it's not.
What's your line?
Oh, it's your time to shine. Oh God, you're like you're such a diva.
I am. Right, let's start off with last week then, the wooden spoon. A bit conflicting information on this, but there were a lot of players who scored the same points, both wooden spoon and yellow cap. So wooden spoon actually goes to Lennon Kemp, who's Len Kemp on the app, scored 4.5 points. Ironically, the same as your niece, only scoring 4.5 points. And then Mrs. Loki the Red, who's Carol Moore, takes the top spot there with 10.5 points. I think it's over virtue of winning margin, I believe. Is that right, Josh? But there were several of us who also scored 10.5 points, so I feel it'd be rude not to shout out just because. So Lee Pop KR, Lee Popplewell, Louis Bishop, Barley 91, Peter Barley, Bosch 82, Andy Davis, who was a Leeds fan. I noticed when I checked on his details. Peter Robin, Peter Anderson, and Beth RL 94, who's Beth Lane. They all scored 10.5 points, so I thought it'd be a bit.
Nah, shout them all out. Well done, everyone.
There was also 4 or 5 with the wooden spoon, but I'll leave it at 2.
You don't want to kick them all while they're down.
No, definitely not. Our standings then, Susan remains top, 97.25 plus 9.5 for this week. Biggest scorer of the round was Dean with 10.25, taking him up to 89.5. Myself scoring 7.25 on 84, just to lose, let me down for a Grand Slam. Jimmy 82.75, sorry, I'm on 84 points. Jimmy 82.75, 6.5 points. Josh also scored 6.5 points, taking his total to 76.5 at the moment. On to this week then, Thursday night game, I believe. Halliwell Jones, Warrington Catalans. I chopped and changed with this one, but I've gone for Catalan by 4.
Catalan by 12.
Dean's got Warrington by 7.
Warrington at home.
Warrington.
Catalans don't travel well, that's the logic.
Jimmy?
Catalan, are you giving a score or?
No, you don't.
Okay.
It just gives the
Fair enough. I've gone Catalan by 8.
Catalan by 8, and Susan's gone Warrington by 12. So this could. It's a bit of a split.
Yeah, got some impact to this.
Yeah, 3 and 3 if we're taking Abel's account. At One Bar Stadium, Castleford York, Castleford by 22.
I've got Castleford by 14.
Dean's also got Castleford by 14.
Cass.
I've got Cass by 10.
Cass by 10, and Susan's got Castleford by 16. Headingley then, as we briefly discussed a short while ago, Leeds versus Hull KR. I've got Leeds by 8.
Leeds by 4.
Dean's got Leeds by 4.
Leeds by a bit.
Leeds by 8. Leeds by 8, and Susan's got Leeds by 10. So we're all Leeds across the board there.
It's weird being on the other side of a negative table.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, isn't it? MKM then, Hull FC versus Wigan. Wigan by 26.
Wigan by 38.
Lots.
Wigan by lots. Dean's got Wigan by 26.
I've got Wigan by 40.
Wigan by 40, and Susan has Wigan by 20. Odsel, or Bartcard Odsel as it's now known, Bradford Saints. This is the one where I said I think I might be alone here. I've gone for Bradford to beat Saints. Saints are in a bit of, I know they beat Huddersfield, and they're in a bit of disarray at the moment. Bradford by 6.
Saints by 14.
I think I might be well out. Dean's got Saints by 8.
Yeah, Saints.
Saints by 16 for me.
Saints by 16. So I am the only one because Susan's also gone for St Helens and gone by 18. So it could be make or break for me there. Stade Ernest Wallon, Toulouse versus Leigh. I've got Leigh by 10.
I've got Leigh by 6.
Dean's got Leigh by 10.
Leigh.
Leigh.
I've got Toulouse by 4.
Home by 4. And Susan's got Leigh by 12. Final one.
Sorry, I did some research on that one. Lamb is back.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Didn't want to say until he'd confirmed it.
Oh, right, withholding. I don't mind.
Well, you should do your research then, shouldn't you? Final one then, DIY Kitchens, Wakefield versus Huddersfield. I've got Wakefield by 18.
Wakey by 26.
Wakey.
Wakey. Dean's got Wakey by 24.
I've got Wakey by 28.
Wakey by 28. I think I might be a bit lower here. And Susan's got Wakefield by 20. And that rounds up predictions for this week.
Does. Right. That's us done then, innit? So,
It is.
just quickly then, thank you again to Comscaf for being our sponsor, to Tribal for being our house, and just a reminder to anyone, if you're watching, listening, give us a like, give us a subscribe wherever you're doing that, and if you are watching on YouTube, please give us that hype so that we can try and grow our viewer base. Yeah, from me then, see you bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.